Africa's two fastest men, and it is Akani Simbine who takes the honours ahead of Omanyala, 9:92 unofficially.
At 31 years old, Akani Simbine is rewriting sprinting history, and not in the way most expected. For years, the South African speedster lived in the shadows of track and field legends, dubbed the Nearly Man after multiple 4th and 5th place finishes on the world stage. But in 2025, everything changed. Simbine has done something not even the great Usain Bolt ever achieved: run the 100 meters in under 10 seconds for 11 consecutive seasons. Earlier this year in Botswana, Simbine shocked the athletics world by clocking a blistering 9.90 seconds in the 100 meters. That wasn't just another race win, it was history in motion. With that time, he became the first athlete in history to run sub-10 for 11 straight years, surpassing the previous record of 10 held by none other than Bolt himself. The moment earned him a new moniker, the Sub-10 King.
Coming back at the right time.
Yeah,
Champs.
for sure. I think everybody just forgets that it's a long season, and I did a whole new approach to the season. And during March, April, I'm always in a big, heavy training block, which I had to.
But for Simbine, it wasn't just about the record. It was a culmination of years of resilience, relentless training, and a refusal to be defined by near misses. Having that tag as the Nearly Man, it's noise at the end of the day, he told BBC Sport. I always show up. I get disappointed, but my family says being disappointed with 4th in the world is a bit crazy, because you are the 4th fastest person alive. It's not like Simbine hasn't been close before. At the Olympics and World Championships, he's been consistently knocking on the door. 5th at Rio 2016, 4th at Tokyo 2020, and again 4th in Paris 2024. Even after running a national record 9.82. Despite these crushing results, he never let the setbacks define his career. In fact, 2024 offered a turning point. While he missed the individual medal in Paris, he anchored South Africa to a silver medal in the 4x100-meter relay, his first Olympic hardware. A few months later, he followed it up with a bronze medal at the World Indoor Championships in Nanjing in the 60-meter event. For a man long overlooked on the podium, it was long overdue recognition. Simbine has exploded into 2025 with unstoppable momentum. Undefeated in the 100 meters so far this year, he's taken gold in nearly every meet he's entered, from Xiamen to Kekio, from Rabat to Atlanta. He even helped South Africa secure gold at the World Relays in Guangzhou, proving that both individually and as part of a team, he's in the best shape of his life. His secret? Preparation. I just think it comes from having a really great indoor season. He explained. His focus on the 60-meter race early in the year sharpened his explosive start and final acceleration. Usually, around this time, I would clock a high 9.9. That's been the norm. But I'm running consistent sub-10 seconds because of the work we've done for 60 meters. Even as critics harped on his lack of individual Olympic medals, Simbine never let that define his legacy. The medals are not my story. The medals are just the cherry on top, he said. If you look at my career and look at what I've done, it's a successful career. And he's not wrong. He's broken barriers no one else has, becoming the first South African in an Olympic 100-meter final, mentoring younger African sprinters, and proving that elite sprinting is not limited to just the US and Jamaica. What he's done for South Africa and the continent at large is arguably more impactful than a shelf full of medals. I could have won medals and had a different story, and it wouldn't have been as powerful as where I'm at right now, he said. He sees himself as a torchbearer for future African sprinters, a symbol of what's possible. Simbine's story isn't just one of triumphs, it's about how he's handled the lows. In 2023, he was disqualified for a false start in the semifinals at the World Championships in Budapest. It was a gut punch. Many would have let that break them. Simbine didn't. I was in the shape of my life. We know what I could have given. And yes, there was disappointment to it, he admitted. But I can't sit in this feeling of negativity and let it eat me up. Instead, he channeled the setback into fuel. That mental resilience is part of what's kept him performing at a world-class level into his 30s, a rare feat in sprinting. Despite his age, Simbine isn't slowing down. He's still hungry, still pushing, still chasing new heights. He's already got his eyes on the World Championships in Tokyo this September and even hinted at the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. The 2028 Games is definitely the plan, but it might be my last Olympics. "We'll see what the body says," he said, but with the system he's built around him, a dedicated coach, physio, and tight-knit team, he's confident he can continue breaking boundaries. "I take every year as it comes," he explained. "That's one of the benefits. I have a great team around me. That's what's kept me in the game this long." For all his resilience, mentorship, and consistency, it's the record that crystallizes Simbine's unique greatness. 11 consecutive seasons running under 10 seconds in the 100-meter isn't just rare, it's unprecedented. Bolt, widely considered the greatest sprinter of all time, couldn't do it. Injuries, off-seasons, and occasional losses of form interrupted even his dominance. But Simbine, year after year, without fail, he showed up and delivered. "You have to realize that what I've been doing in the sport for South Africa and for Africa is a first," Simbine said. "That is developing so many athletes after me, and for me, that's a very powerful position. In an event that demands perfection down to the 100th of a second, Simbine has found a way to be relentlessly consistent. That kind of durability, combined with elite performance, is almost unheard of in sprinting." Born on September 21, 1993 in Kempton Park, Gauteng, Simbine wasn't always the favorite to make it big. He studied information science at the University of Pretoria, where he trained under coach Werner Prinsloo. It was there, with a solid academic foundation and strong coaching support, that he began transforming into Africa's fastest man. Standing at 176 centimeters and weighing 74 kilograms, Simbine may not be the most physically imposing sprinter on the track, but he makes up for it with technical precision and explosive power. His personal best of 9.82 seconds, set in Paris during the 2024 Olympics, is a South African national record. He's also clocked an impressive 19.95 seconds in the 200 meters and 15.08 in the rarely run 150 meters. Beyond just competing, Simbine has consistently been a medal contender in global competitions. He won gold at the 2018 Commonwealth Games in the 100 meters and was a multiple-time African champion. At the 2021 World Relays, he delivered a clutch anchor leg to bring home gold for South Africa, showing not only individual brilliance, but also composure under pressure. He's also represented Africa at the Continental Cup and has a growing collection of medals across the Commonwealth Games, African Championships, and Universiade. With every season, he's added new layers to a career built not just on speed, but on tenacity. As he stands on the brink of the 2025 World Championships, Simbine has one message: he's far from finished. "There's still more in the tank," he said, "and I'm not done yet." Whether or not he grabs that elusive individual gold, Akani Simbine has already cemented his legacy. He's defied expectations, silenced critics, and done something no one, not even Bolt, has ever done. And in doing so, he's reshaped what greatness looks like in the world of sprinting. The nearly man is now a history maker. And the story isn't over yet. In just 9 seconds, something happened that no one saw coming. It was quiet, fast, and left people speechless. On a cool night in August 2025, a runner did something that changed everything. But what really happened on that track? And why are people still talking about it today? This is the story of Akani Simbine, and it starts with a question no one can answer yet. First off, let's set the scene. It's the 2025 Diamond League Final in Zurich, held August 27th and 28th. The event is the climax of a long season, 14 Diamond League meets across the world, culminating here at Letzigrund Stadium. Every athlete here, every sprint, every leap, every throw, carries more weight than any other meet outside a global championship. Simbine had one of those seasons that felt urgent, that seemed to need a statement. He began in 2025 winning bronze in the 60 meters at the World Indoor Championships. It was his first global individual medal, signaling he was still dangerous in the short sprint. In the outdoor season, he became the only man in history to run sub-10 seconds in the 100 meters for 11 consecutive years. That streak ended only because no one else has done it ever. He ran 9.90 seconds at the Botswana Grand Prix, a world-leading time. Then he rattled off Diamond League golds. First with a 9.99 in Xiamen, then victories in Atlanta, 9.86, and Rabat, 9.95. He was building momentum, reminding fans and rivals that the spark hadn't faded. But still, doubts lingered. With a season full of ups and downs, impressive wins punctuated by ordinary performances, The question was whether he could rise when the pressure was highest, when it mattered most. The answer came in Zurich. Christian Coleman, the American champion, turned in a 9.97-second run to win the men's 100-meter. Akani Simbine followed just 1/100th of a second behind, crossing in a blistering 9.98. It was as close as it gets. One lean, one breath, one instant. Akeem Blake took third in 9.99. It was a blanket finish, heart-stopping in its intensity. For Simbine, it was redemption. He had silenced the whispers that his best days were behind him. In Zurich's biggest spotlight, he stood tall, proving he still belongs among the world's elite. And more than that, he delivered on the promise of his season. And think about what that says going into the World Championships. A runner who can haul up to a 9.98 in the biggest Diamond League final after a season of battling back and forth between brilliance and inconsistency. It says, he isn't just ready, he's dangerous. He looked in form, in rhythm, in fight. The world's best were there in Zurich. Noah Lyles won his 6th Diamond League final with a stunning 19.74 in the 200 meters. Julian Alfred came back from injury to win the women's 100 meters in 10.76. The bar was high, the pressure intense. And by nailing second place in his event under that pressure, Simbine said more about his readiness than any words ever could. Let's break down what that means. He's raced fast all season, but now he's done it when it counts most. To run 9.98 in that moment shows sharpness, composure, and a willingness to fight. It shows he can deliver under fire. That's exactly the kind of mindset that breeds success in Tokyo at the World Championships. We've seen in recent years how championship sprint finals are won by inches and often by nerves. Simbine has the experience, the history of national records and global finals, and now this, the confidence of a big stage podium finish. That matters. What makes this even more compelling is how he navigated the season. He didn't coast to Zurich on purely dominating runs. Instead, he had to find form after obstacles. That journey built resilience. It tells us he's not just peaking physically, he's peaking mentally too. And look at the narrative. Once doubted, now a comeback hero. That's the storyline people connect with. Fans love a comeback. They love resilience, belief, faith rewarded. Simbine is giving them just that. His season may have wobbled, but his finish was sharp. But it's more than the numbers. It's the way he holds himself on the track. The focus in his eyes when he steps into the blocks, the calm energy before the gun, the drive out of the start, the lift in his knees, the way he doesn't fade under pressure. All of it speaks to an athlete who has matured, not just in speed, but in presence. In Zurich, he didn't just run, he performed. He stood shoulder to shoulder with Coleman, a world champion, and matched him stride for stride. In many ways, Simbine's journey mirrors that of the greatest athletes. The ones who reach the top, stumble, and find their way back with grit rather than glamour. He's not flashy. He doesn't talk much trash. But his performances speak volumes. This is a man who has faced heartbreak, like missing the Olympic podium by milliseconds, and still comes back with his head high. And there's a deeper story too. For years, Simbine has carried the hopes of South Africa, a country where sprinting wasn't always the main stage. He changed that. He became the face of speed in his nation, a role model not just for athletes, but for resilience itself. And after every fall, he's gotten up faster. This season was no different. Early races brought questions. Was his time running out? Was the next generation about to take over? Young sprinters like Letziel Tebogo and Oblique Seville were making noise. The spotlight was shifting. And yet, in Zurich, Simbine reminded them all, experience matters, timing matters, delivering when it counts matters more than hype. Now the countdown begins. 2 weeks to Tokyo. The World Championships are where legends are made and legacies are sealed. Every athlete arrives with a story. Some are peaking, some are fading, others are hunting redemption. For Simbine, it's a mix of all three. He has the scars of battle, the fire of ambition, and the rhythm of a man who knows this might be his moment. Let's not forget what's at stake. A medal at the World Championships is more than a title. It's validation. It's history. For Simbine, it would be the crown on a career that has fought for every inch. Let's not overlook what else he brings. Years of finals experience, national records, relay golds, Olympic near medals, and now indoor and Diamond League podiums. He has depth. Knoxville, Doha, Rome, Xiamen, Atlanta, Rabat, Zurich. They're not just races. They're markers in a career that's still very much climbing. Viewers in South Africa will feel it too. With this performance, Simbine reminded everyone he still carries the nation's hopes. He lifted fans back out of doubt and into belief. That's powerful. So here's how the script could close. Simbine stood there in Zurich, second to Coleman, but standing tall, carrying something bigger than just his lane. He carried history, hope, a nation, and a message. He's not done yet. 2 weeks out from Tokyo's World Championships, he's as ready as he's ever been. Eyes now turn to the global stage, where seconds will separate medals. And for Akani, that margin could be the next chapter of a thrilling story still being written. Noah Lyles just did the unthinkable, beating the Olympic champ in the final seconds and making track history in the process. But what happened at the finish line left everyone in shock. Noah, an American sprint star who already held multiple world titles and had a personal best of 19.31 seconds in the 200 meters, had a unique target. He was going for a 6th straight Diamond League final win in the 200, a feat no other track athlete had ever pulled off. His rival across the field was none other than Olympic champion Letziel Tebego, the young legend from Botswana who had stunned the world by beating Noah in the Olympic 200 final. Tonight's race wasn't just another contest. It was poised to be a showdown where past pain met burning ambition. This was more than a sprint. This was a mental battle. Everyone watching knew the storylines. They knew Lyles had been dominant in the Diamond League, but had fallen short when it mattered most at the Olympics. And Tebogo. He was the new face of speed, calm under pressure, with a stride so relaxed it looked effortless even at top speed. It was a clash of eras, of mentalities, of two runners with everything to prove. When the gun went off, Tebogo leapt ahead. His smooth, powerful stride carried him just ahead as they rounded the bend. It looked eerily similar to the Olympic replay. Tebogo out front, calm, collected. But Noah wasn't about to repeat the mistakes of the past. He wasn't panicking. He remembered every stride, every fall, every moment that led him here. The crowd got even louder as the runners reached the last part of the race. Then, like a flash, Noah started running even faster. With his body leaning forward and every part of him pushing hard, he focused completely on the finish line. Right at the last second, he passed Tebogo and won the race just barely by only 0.02 seconds, finishing in 19.74 seconds. 19.74, practically flying. And with that, Noah clinched his 6th consecutive Diamond League final victory in the 200. No athlete before had ever made it 6. Suddenly, the record book felt different because he was in it alone. But what made this race even more remarkable was what you couldn't see on the stopwatch. It wasn't just about the time, it was about timing. Noah timed that final push with the precision of a sniper. He didn't lead the whole way. He stalked his opponent, waited, and attacked at the exact moment when the world thought Tebogo had it sealed. His words after the race captured it perfectly. 6 in a row, the most in track. It is pretty nice to have that. I saw Letziel lean on the finish line, but I knew I won. I knew if I panicked, I was not going to win. If you are tight, you are done for. Those sentences weren't rehearsed. They were raw, honest, the kind of insight only someone who's sprinted that close to defeat and snatched victory might have. Tebogo's reaction was mature too. He said watching Lyles win, he realized how much Noah had grown in humility since the Olympic loss. You have to let the legs do the talk, he said. The more you talk and you cannot prove it means you only talk. You do not prove yourself. But for me, I do not talk. I just let the legs do its thing. That level of respect, that competitive poise, it's what makes this rivalry feel like more than just a contest. It's a chapter in sprinting history being written out loud. The stakes were high, not just for bragging rights. With the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo on the horizon, this was huge. For Noah, after a couple of 100-meter losses earlier that season, winning here was exactly the confidence boost he needed. It wasn't just another medal to hang on the wall, it was a statement, loud and clear, to every sprinter lining up in Tokyo, he's still the man to beat. And the atmosphere? It was absolutely electric. The Diamond League final, the premier stage in track and field, had drawn the world's biggest stars to Zurich's Letzigrund from August 27th to 28th. This wasn't your average end-of-season event. It felt more like a global summit of the sport's best. Athletes knew this was the last real test before Tokyo, and everyone showed up hungry. Lyles's win was just one of the headlines. Julian Alfred made a comeback splash, clocking 10.76 seconds to win the women's 100 and silence any doubts about her recovery. Javelin became a stage for pure drama. Julian Weber unleashed a world-leading 91.51 meters, pushing Olympic champ Neeraj Chopra into second. Christian Coleman ripped through the men's 100 in 9.97 seconds. Karsten Warholm and Femke Bol broke meet records in their hurdle events. Records were falling like dominoes. Even outside the sprints, the action was wild. A Dutch national record tumbled in the women's 1500. Britain's stars hit personal bests in the 800. This was the kind of night where even finishing second felt like a badge of honor. Champions weren't just winning, they were sharpening their swords before war. But Lyles, his moment stood above it all, because in that single burst of power and precision, he didn't just win a race.